Hi girls, Miss Gaska here. Today I'm going to go over English 3 Semester 2 Week 2, Activity 5.6 Finalizing Research. Our learning targets for this activity will be 1. To construct a thesis statement that answers a research question, and 2. Collaboratively plan and organize research ideas to create a coherent presentation. So, let's look at language and writer's craft, writing a thesis. Writing a thesis is probably one of the most important things you could possibly learn in an English or language arts class. You're going to use this repeatedly no matter what English class you're in, and you're also going to use it in college if you plan on being in college at all. Literally any college course you take is going to require you to know how to write a thesis statement, except for maybe mathematics. So a thesis statement usually appears at the beginning of the introductory paragraph of an essay. Now I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. An introduction essay and it offers a specific summary of the main point and claim of the essay. The thesis statement fulfills the following criteria. It answers the research question, it reflects an opinion that can be argued with reasoning and evidence from your source, and it provides the organization of ideas. Those 3 things I do agree with. So we're going to look at these sample research questions and the thesis statements that answer each question, and we're going to analyze how each statement meets the requirements of an effective thesis statement. Now this is kind of complicated the way that they phrased it. I'm going to break it down in a simpler way. Your thesis statement should take place of should include 3 things: your topic, your point, and your reasons. And I'm going to highlight each of these things in different colors so that we can color code the paragraphs as well. So let's look at topic. I'm going to highlight topic in yellow. I'm going to highlight point, and I'm going to, I'm going to make point pink for point. Oh, you know what? I want to make topic teal for topic, pink for point, and then for reasons, let me get my highlight tool again. For reasons, we are going to highlight this in red for reasons. Okay, so we have our topic in teal, our point in pink, and red for reasons. So, how did Alan Locke contribute to the Harlem Renaissance movement? So, we're going to be figuring out first what our topic is that we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be talking about Alan Locke's contributions to the Harlem Renaissance movement. So I'm going to focus on that as as my topic. And then my point kind of overlaps with that a little bit. I'm going to explain how he contributed to the Harlem Renaissance. So my point is in pink. I'm going to double highlight the word contribute. So it might look a little funny, if that's okay. Whoa, it turned it dark blue. That's interesting. And then I'm also going to highlight to the Harlem Renaissance movement. So I don't have my reasons here because I haven't explained it yet. So there's no part that needs to be highlighted in red for reasons because our reasons aren't here. So here we're going to look at our topic, which is Alan Locke. That's the person we're talking about. And then here they explain who he is. So I'm going to consider that part of my topic too because it is an influential leader of the Harlem Renaissance. And then my point. So what is it that I'm trying to say about this person? So I'm trying to say that he instilled purpose and responsibility into the young writers of his time. And then I have to answer the question, how? Because it asks, how did he do that? So here's my point. So I need to make it pink for point. And now the how is with his essays in leadership. So he used his essays in leadership in order to instill purpose and responsibility into the Harlem Renaissance. So, and to young writers of the Harlem Renaissance. So I'm going to make this red because these are my reasons, my two things I'm going to be talking about. So, why was jazz music such an influential art form during the Harlem Renaissance? So now I have the topic of jazz music, which I'm going to make teal for topic. Then I need my point. Well, my point is I need to explain why. I need to make it pink for point. So why was it such an influential art form during the Harlem Renaissance? And we haven't answered the question yet, so we don't have our reasons. That's okay. It's supposed to be like this. So I have my topic and my point, and now I add my reasons to make my thesis. So I have reflecting the historical context and the daily writings and the daily life of the Harlem Renaissance, jazz music gave musicians a new outlet of expression. So we have to evaluate which part of this is our topic, which is our point, and which is our reason. So here we need to find our topic in this part. So our topic is all the way down here, jazz music. And I'm going to make that teal for topic. Now I need to say why it's an influential art form during the Harlem Renaissance. So reflecting the historical context and daily life of the Harlem Renaissance, what did it do? It gave musicians a new outlet of expression. So it was an influential part because it gave musicians a new outlet of expression, which is my point. And then I have the two things I'm going to talk about. Point is pink. And then the two things I'm going to talk about were that it reflected the daily life, that's one thing, and historical context, that's two things, okay? Cool. So, I'm gonna make this red for reasons. All right, so last but not least, major question is why were Jessie Redmond Fawcett's novels viewed with dismissive criticism during the Harlem Renaissance, and why is her work being revisited today? So this one we're being asked two questions. So let's look at the point, our topic. So I'm going to highlight Jessie Redmond Fawcett's novels. That's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to make that teal for topic. So, why were they viewed with dismissive criticism during the Harlem Renaissance? So, why is part of my point, because I'm going to be explaining why, and why they were viewed with dismissive criticism during the Harlem Renaissance. So whatever my point is going to either rephrase that or answer that. And then I'm also going to be looking at why is her work being revisited today. So her work is what we're going to be talking about for the second part of that question. And then why is it being revisited is our point. Oh, whoops, wrong color. So I hope that by color coding this, I'm kind of illuminating how to write a thesis statement just by having those three things. Think about the red, the teal, and the pink, and each of those words start with a letter that represents one of the parts of our thesis statement. So let's look over here. We have Jessie Redmond Fawcett, whose Harlem Renaissance novels were received with mixed reviews when they were first released, is now viewed as one of America's first Black feminist writers for her portrayal of race relations and Black women. So, first of all, we're going to be talking about why her novels were viewed with criticism. So, I'm going to find her name is part of my topic. And then my other part of the topic is her novels. And then they were received with mixed reviews when they were first released. But it doesn't really explain why. but it's probably the same reason why they're being revisited, to be honest. So this is part of my point. So I'm making it pink. And also, they're now viewed as she's now viewed as one of America's first Black feminist writers. So that's also part of my point, just a different question. For her portrayal, so these are the two things that I'm going to be talking about in my paragraphs. I'm going to be talking about her portrayal of race relations and Black women. So I'm going to have one paragraph on race relations and one paragraph on Black women. And that is how I would do that. So I have my topic, which is her novels. My point, which was 1, that they were received with mixed reviews when they were first released, and 2, they're now viewed as one of America's first Black female writers. And 3, my reasons for her portrayal of race relations and Black women. So now that you've collected sources that support your major research question, create a thesis statement for your presentation. So you're going to have to go back to your research question that you chose during week 1 in order to create a thesis statement here. So make sure that you have done that before you move on to this point. So then, presenting your research. As you prepare to present your research, keep these questions in mind. What is important about the information from each resource in relation to the thesis? So, what information supports the thesis? What organizational structure will you use to create coherence? And this is defined over here, by the way. How will you maintain an academic voice? What strategy will you use to introduce your research and make it engaging and informative? How will you conclude your presentation, and what will you say about the topic and what it means in relation to the Harlem Renaissance? Is there a connection to a larger meaning about life in general? So take a second to look at this definition of coherence. It's the quality of unity or of logical connection among ideas. Writers achieve internal coherence within paragraphs and external coherence between paragraphs using effective transitions and transitional devices. So, providing for audience note-taking. During your presentation, you want to make sure your audience is taking notes so that they could capture your main idea and evidence that you're presenting in support of your idea. So as you think about ways to provide for note-taking, keep these questions in mind. What type of note-taking graphic organizer could you create for your classmates to use in effective note-taking for your presentation? And what information do you need to provide on your graphic organizer? So think about those two things as you're creating your note-taking sheet. So you're going to be selecting one topic from the information that you've gathered. So then you're going to generate a draft of a script for that section or for that presentation, because you're not doing it with a group. As you draft that script, consider the media that you're going to use. Like, are you going to use PowerPoint? Are you going to use Prezi? Are you going to make a video? Are you going to make audio clips, etc.? So be sure to begin with a thesis statement that answers the major research question and clearly states your opinion. Include commentary that directly explains the connection between the research and the thesis statement, and also provide in-text documentation of that research, and then smoothly transition from one topic and media type to another. So make sure you're hitting all 3 of those points. Then for check your understanding, you're going to be writing a short reflection on the experience you had conducting this research. So what was it like? What went well? What was hard? And then also review your independent reading you've completed so far. Review notes you might have taken about how the text relate to the Harlem Renaissance, and look for information in the text that you could use as source material for your multimedia presentation. And that's all there is for this activity. I will see you in the next one, which is Embedded Assessment 1.